Greetings from high atop the T-Mobile Center one final time this week in Kansas City as the Big 12 Basketball Championship Tournament comes to an end, and for the second time in 3 years, it's the Kansas Jayhawks who are unable to finish the deal. So Texas Longhorns, who defeat the Kansas Jayhawks by a score of 76-56, take home their second tournament title in 3 seasons. The Longhorns in control of this game from about late in the first half onward and never allowed Kansas to make a second half run. For the second time in as many games in a week's time, Texas completely throttled Kansas with their defense. Kansas scored just 59 points in a loss in Austin in the regular season finale, and they managed just 56 points in this one. KU without Kevin McCullough, that bears mentioning. I certainly think impacted the defense for the Jayhawks as Texas got a lot of layups in this game, got a lot of really easy offense. They went down into the post pretty often and got a lot of layups. Texas shot 50% in the game, an even 50%, 31-62, despite going 4 of 17 from 3. So you do the math. 27-45 on 2-point shots, well over 50% from inside the arc. Dylan Dessou did most of the damage. He had 18 points. He ended up being named the tournament most outstanding player, which, look, I know it usually goes to the team or a player on the team that wins. I know that's custom for most outstanding player, but Jalen Wilson was the best player in this tournament and should have won that award, and that's who I voted for, full disclosure. More about Wilson in a bit. But Dylan Dessou took advantage of some mismatches on the inside. He scored 18 points. Marcus Carr, Serge Rice, 17 points apiece for Texas. But it was their defense that really frustrated Kansas. It's a very simple equation for the Jayhawks, and we talked about it after the first 2 games of this tournament. DeJuan Harris played really, really well for Kansas in their wins over West Virginia and Iowa State, and he played very poorly in this game. It must be said that DeJuan Harris was a non-factor. He finished with 6 points, but 4 of those came kind of in garbage time, 4 assists, but also 4 turnovers, and really looked out of sorts. Whatever Texas has thrown at DeJuan Harris has been very effective, and it's something that Harris and the Jayhawks need to figure out as they head into the NCAA tournament. Jalen Wilson was super. He should have been most outstanding player of this tournament. I still don't know why he wasn't. He had 24 points, 6 rebounds. He was pretty much the only offense for Kansas. When you've seen Kansas play this year and they've lost, like in their 3-game losing streak that they had in conference play earlier this year, a big part of the reason sorry, I got an itchy nose here, folks. We're doing this live. The thing that gets Kansas beat is if Jalen Wilson's the only guy doing anything on offense. And tonight that was kind of the case. He was 9 of 19 from the field, and the rest of the team was 15 of 39. Only one other double-figure scorer. That was Joseph Yesufu, who started in place of Kevin McCullough, who did not play due to the back spasms he's still fighting through. Yesufu had 11 points, 5 of 11 shooting. Only 6 points for DeJuan Harris, only 6 points for KJ Adams, only 6 points on 3 of 11 shooting for Grady Dick. He never got going in this one. Texas has done well to limit his impact in games. There's a lot that can be learned, I think, for Kansas in their last 2 losses of the season, both of them to this Texas team that has very clearly figured something out against the Jayhawks on offense. And so it'll be back to the drawing board a bit for Bill Self and company. Speaking of the Jayhawk head coach, who, of course, did not guide the team in this NCAA tournament or in this Big 12 tournament, he is expected back for the NCAA tournament. Interim coach Norm Roberts saying as much after the game tonight. Hats off to Texas, Big 12 tournament champions for the second time in 3 years. They got a bunch of old guys. Dylan Dessou's 23, Marcus Carr's 23, Serge Rice is 23. They got seniors, they got grad transfers, veteran basketball team that plays tough, and they out-toughed Kansas tonight. There's no question about it, that they seem to have a higher level of urgency, especially in the second half, as they held KU without a field goal for a 5-minute stretch, held them scoreless for a 5-minute stretch, and were able to take what had kind of been a back-and-forth basket trading kind of second half and turn it into the blowout it ultimately became. So Kansas wins it, or Texas wins it by 20. Kansas falls 76-56 is the final score. Jayhawks finished up 27-7. They'll still be a 1 seed. They'll still probably end up in Kansas City in the Midwest region if they get through their first 2 games, which will be in Des Moines, all but certainly this coming week. But some wounds to lick for the Jayhawks, courtesy this talented veteran bunch of Texas Longhorns who really rolled them twice in 4 games to end the season. But now everybody's 0-0 as we wait for Selection Sunday tomorrow afternoon. We'll have full discussion of this one and the brackets and all of that good stuff on Monday's Sports on 580 programming, mic'd up with Jake and Fulton from noon to 3, and then 580 Sports Talk with yours truly and Brendan Dworzinski from 3 to 6. That'll do it from the T-Mobile Center for this Sports on 580 Instant Reaction. I'm Dan Lucero. Good night, everybody.